Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, hotel developer and CBI agent concerned about the impact of opposition leaders' statements on the CBI program. U.S. boarding schools offer $6.5 million in financial awards to Dominican students, and the DPSU optimistic over possibility of the start of salary negotiations with government later this month. The details coming up.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts, with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
Hotel developer Sam Raphael has defended the Citizenship by Investment program, saying statements made by the opposition leader in his budget response could hurt the program. Sam Raphael is a CBI agent, which means he is authorized to submit applications for the Citizenship program. Raphael was invited as a guest on the Hot Seat hosted by Matt Peltier to discuss the CBI program from his perspective and knowledge as a developer and an agent. The opposition leader's statements, which suggested huge sums of CBI money were unaccounted for, also came up for discussion. In his budget response, using figures outlined in the Gazette, the opposition leader said this:
3,961 persons received the passports of Dominica in the 5-month period, August to December of 2018. Remember, I asked you all whether you read the documents that come to you. I had a reason for that. Because our passports are being sold for $100,000 US each. But there are persons who get passports as part of a family package, for example, where the price to each member would average out at about $56.25 thousand US, not 100,000. And investors in hotel projects are required to pay $50,000 US per passport into the treasury. So we are going to assume that the average price paid for each of the 3,961 CBI passports sold between August and December of last year was not $100,000, but half of that, $50,000. Each of them. Multiply now. You have a calculator? 3,961 passports at US $50,000 per passport is equal to 198 million US dollars, or $537.9 million EC dollars. Remember, the figure reported in these estimates Our revenue for the whole year, not 5 months, the whole 12 months, the figure reported is $226 million. But we didn't sell passports for the 5 months alone. The figure they gave us is not for 5 months, for the whole year. So let us do the math. For the whole year, 5 months, 537 million. Full year, we prorate and we project $1,291 million. That is what the evidence suggests. $1,291 million. How did we end up with only 226 million, over $1 billion less? Where the money gone?
The question is, and I'm sure we can use all different figures in what may have been, according to you, may have been wrong figures presented by the opposition leader. The question, the big question in the bracket is accountability.
Right. Matt, I can talk about that, but I have to state categorically that we have to accept that the opposition leader made an error in his calculation, because that's all I just want to send the people, not me. You yourself go and look at the figures and you'll see the figure he came up with doesn't make sense. Now, is there need for accountability? Should there be an audit? I wouldn't argue with anything with respect to that. You're not going to get an argument from me with that. But I'm just saying the figure that he created is a fictitious figure, and that is not correct. And I think it's unfortunate. Now you have this spreading to St. Vincent, you have this spreading all over the place, giving Dominica and Dominica's CBI program a bad name, because this has scandalized our program based on a fictitious figure. Now we have 3 options whereby people can obtain citizenship. Well, 2, and the third one is a hybrid of the first.
All right.
The first option is the contribution option, which he correctly stated is called NDF. A single applicant is 100,000. A family of 4, it's 200,000. Yeah. And then you have the real estate option. Based on what I told you, make $200,000 investment in a hotel or a development, and you pay either $25,000 as a single, $35,000 as a family of 4, $50,000 as a family of up to 6, and $70,000 for any more than that. And he's recited some Arabic names. You have some very large Arabic families that come under that program. And then there's a third, it's a hybrid under the contribution option, and it started as a result of Tropical Storm Erica, when the government launched a program to provide housing for people of Petite Savanne, which the people moved into. Since then, we've had Maria, and we have I think 9 housing communities being built. That's under the donation option also, and their contribution is $15,000 for 2 persons, and $10,000 for any additional person. So the leader of the opposition is correct in his math in the first figure. That is the gazetted number that you're giving. But in doing any accounting or math, you have to have an accurate assumption. And the assumption of $50,000, if he had asked me, if he had asked Kenny, if he had asked anyone familiar with the program, that is a figure that doesn't exist.
Sam Raphael says he supports transparency, but the way the matter was approached by the opposition leader was ill-informed. He says the assumption by the opposition leader as to how much money should have been collected under the CBI was incorrect.
There's one little problem with the equation. It's a little $50,000 problem.
Yeah, but let's.
No, not but.
Well, go ahead.
Because that is at the heart of this whole thing.
Yes.
There is an assumption that the average person contributes $50,000 to the government, and that is wrong. There is the opposition leader made a factually incorrect statement saying that persons that come in through the real estate program must pay $50,000 to the government. That is incorrect.
Right.
If the leader of the opposition were to go to the government website, don't take Sam's word for it. And the audience now, I will send you to the website where the correct information is. You would see that it's easy to debunk this, because the site that the official information comes from, this is the government's, this is the law, this is what's required. It states that a single applicant under the real estate program contributes $25,000. A family of 4 contributes $35,000 for all 4, which means that it's less than $10,000 per applicant.
The Marigot Development Corporation MDC has secured financial awards totaling $6.5 million for 18 Dominican students through its U.S. study program, the boarding school section. The program targets students under 17 years old who are eligible for entrance to U.S. private boarding schools. It facilitates students in preparing for the boarding school exam SSAT, selecting schools, applying to the schools, and obtaining financial awards. The program also provides support and guidance to students throughout boarding school and university as required. This year saw the largest number of students accepting offers from schools, representing a 50% increase over 2018. The MDC also saw the largest number of students receiving awards of 100% plus. For the first time ever, 3 students also received $220,000 towards their university education.
The program is 6 years old, so this is our 7th batch of students. We started off with only 1 student at the beginning, and this year we'll be sending off 18 students. Those students will join 17 students who are currently in the U.S. in the program. So we will have about 9 and 7, say about 36 students, Dominican students, who will be in the U.S. private boarding school system. Getting ready. They call it, some call it a prep school, where you prepare, you get ready for universities. So these students will have an opportunity to have an early entry into the U.S. system and position themselves to get some of those scholarships, financial aid that is available in the U.S. for students, even international students who have, are bringing, certain qualities to those schools and who are prepared to work hard. The impact of the program, to see the impact, you basically will have to, I think, maybe when you speak to parents and you speak to students who are either in or come through the program, and students who are at universities, I would think, maybe almost 100% of those students will get to university, and will get to university with some level of financial support. Because for our program, it's the private U.S. boarding school system. It's principally prepping for university. For us, the program has been growing. For us, a successful intervention would be for those students who are able to come through the program and then get to university, okay, with substantially less cost to parents than would otherwise have happened. Okay, for those students who are able to do that, that's a successful intervention. So far, we have seen quite a few of those, not 100%, but we've seen quite a few of those students who have come through the program getting significant financial support into universities, where parents, can smile about, the investment they're making at this stage to facilitate or to make the later situation possible.
The financial awards from the institutions have increased significantly this year.
The scholarships, the financial aid are given by the schools. What we do, we facilitate the process, we make it happen. Okay? We, select all the students who come to the program who we think can benefit from it. Then the students have to do an exam, and the schools are looking at a number of things to determine whether they can give that financial support to the students. And we are preparing the students, we are supporting the students as they try to get those, okay? So I don't want people to think that we are giving scholarship or we have money given, right? Basically, we are facilitating something which we found out there in the US that Dominican students can benefit from. It's not for all students, but there are students in Dominica who can benefit from an opportunity in the US. Just like the Chinese students are benefiting, or the Jamaican students have benefited for 80 years and more. It's there. And we have bright students here. We have bright students who also do sports, who do drama, who do music, who can really turn some heads in those institutions. This year, we have there's one student in particular who got offers from almost every top school in the US, all right, at that level. And so we have those qualities here. We have those students here. You know, I just like to encourage parents, you know, to step out, you know, look at the opportunity, see if it's for you, see whether you're prepared to make that small investment, because it's a tremendous opportunity for students to get a start and in that level of education.
The annual seminar takes place this weekend at the Privosini Mall.
On Saturday the 10th, every year we have a seminar at the beginning of the recruiting program, or at the end of the whole program. This year, with the 18 students moving out, we have our seminar is this week Saturday at 10 a.m. at the Privosini Mall from 10 to 12:30. Okay, at the seminar we speak to parents and students about the program, about the opportunities, about what they need to do, about whether they can benefit. But we try to encourage, and we invite all students who are interested, you know, whether you're in 4th form, you're in 5th form, whether you just graduated and will be going to State College or Leeds, you know, and you think that is an opportunity that you want to look at. We invite you to come and share with us, where we share the opportunity with you. We take all questions and we answer all questions that are presented.
Prime Minister Skerrit says there are noteworthy signs that the future of Dominica's agriculture is in good hands. The Prime Minister says this is an exciting time for any young person interested in agriculture.
And I speak, Madam Speaker, of one, an increase in the involvement of young people in agriculture, an increase in the involvement of young professionals in agriculture, and 3, an increase in the involvement of young women in agriculture, Madam Speaker. And I believe that it is important for me to name but a few, a very, very few, Madam Speaker, today in the Parliament. And I salute, Madam Speaker, Mr. Condoni Williams, a lawyer who is heavily involved in agriculture. Mr. Karim Gist, a business executive who is heavily involved in the poultry industry. Dr. Coulson Judge, who is a specialist doctor at the hospital, who is very heavily involved in the production of chicken meat, Madam Speaker. Mr. Gleno Cyril of Calibishi, who is involved not only in agriculture but agro-processing, utilizing our cassava. Mr. Lenny Aubrey of Calibishi, young man, cultivating several acres of different varieties of yams and different varieties of potato, Madam Speaker. I salute this gentleman. Mr. Sheldon Roy of Penville, a young barber who is heavily involved and passionately involved in agriculture. Pastor Jody Andrews, a pastor, a church leader, who is also heavily involved in agriculture. And Mr. Serafin Deja of Mount Prospect, heavily involved in the production of seasoning and also vegetables, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I say without fear of contradiction. And Madam Speaker, I left out my name. Somebody else mentioned my name later on. So. Madam Speaker, I say without any fear of contradiction that with these comprehensive investments we have made and will continue to make in agriculture, and with the foundation laid by the pioneers in agriculture who are still practicing, the future of the sector and its contribution to the economy is well assured, Madam Speaker.
The Prime Minister says the necessary agreements have been signed with the governments of Serbia for the introduction of new technologies in agriculture, namely greenhouses, hydroponics and tissue culture. He says the People's Republic of China is another key partner in developing Dominica's agriculture.
Madam Speaker, I also wish to articulate the main components of a major initiative provided with the assistance of the government of the People's Republic of China through the Chinese Agricultural Technical Mission. Work at the Portsmouth Agricultural Station will continue to focus on the introduction of new vegetable crop varieties and demonstration, seedling propagation and technical training and extension services. Madam Speaker, the feasibility study for the construction of an agricultural complex has been completed. The 1,200 square meter, 3-story building will include a tissue culture lab, training center, meeting rooms, and accommodation and offices for the Chinese agricultural experts. We expect an agreement between the government of Dominica and the government of the People's Republic of China for the construction of the complex to be signed later this year. I wish again to thank publicly the government and people of the People's Republic of China and the government of Serbia for their support for ever-important agricultural sector.
You are watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more after this.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
Les moun qui ni TB estene et ben tout c'est, moun qui en bonne santé oli ouin ka respirer c'est vermine là. Moun qui pa ni bon tempérament, kon sa ki ni maladie HIV, alcool, ka fumer, ti mamay et grand moun bien sensible pour ces maladies ça là. Moun qui ka tousse ni pour prendre précaution les yo en parmi moun en place publique, couvert bouche ou le ka estene et tousse. Visitez docteur et ben place santé. Fini tout traitement yo ba ou sa joine guérison et puis maladie TB. En responsabilité ou aider du bout si men maladie TB et HIV, protéger corps et les autres.
Helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts, with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Thank you for staying with us. President of the Dominica Public Service Union has welcomed the proposals in the 2019-2020 national budget to provide upward mobility for teachers, but is keeping an eye on salary negotiations. Joseph says any proposals which would benefit teachers is welcome, but the union is interested in all its members and not just segments.
I think it's responsible on behalf of the union to welcome any positive proposal, I will call them proposal at this time, that would benefit both teachers as well as nurses, because I think there are proposals that suggest creating additional positions that would create some level of mobility within those two sections. As well as I heard suggestions of establishing a committee to look at the minimum wage, which I think the union welcomes as well. I trust that this happens as soon as possible so that we can see some action. But the union has always espoused that when you're dealing with salaries, it's a measure that's supposed to benefit every public officer. In other words, while we welcome suggestions that affect sections, we believe when you negotiate for salaries is to address a bigger picture. As you're aware that contribution to Social Security is gradually going up. Of course, inflation is an issue. Even the price of petrol has increased. So for the public officer to be able to keep up with additional expenses, we always have to ensure that we negotiate on their behalf. And the law provides that every 3 years, so every 3 years we are supposed to negotiate. Either the government or the representative body, which is the Dominica Public Service Union, under law can make proposals. And this is why we made our proposals very early, December. December of 2018 we felt was sufficient time to allow the government to call the union to the table, to discuss what the country can afford, and for us to agree on some kind of measure that would benefit public officers so that it makes it in time for the budget. As you heard and as we heard, there was nothing in the budget for salaries per se.
Meantime, it appears there may be some progress towards the start of salary negotiations between government and the Public Service Union for the next 3 years. Both Steve Joseph and the DPSU General Secretary Thomas Leta have just returned home from attending the Caribbean Public Service Association's conference held in the Bahamas. Thomas Leta is also the General Secretary of the CPSA. Joseph says upon his return he made a discovery which makes him hopeful.
But as I returned, there was a letter waiting for negotiations to commence this month, and the date proposed is August 15th. So I'm hoping, notwithstanding that nothing is in the budget, that on the 15th, that the negotiating team has some good news for the union and for public officers. Because I believe public officers are well deserving of some form of salary increase. You know, Julian, that since Maria, some of them has been on the go. And it's not because they themselves have not been impacted. They themselves were impacted both in terms of their families, their homes, their property, and even investment that they had, some are involved in agriculture and other things. And they too need to recover to a point where they return to where they were, or, as we said, if they're building some level of resilience, that they are better than where they were 3-4 years ago. So let's hope that there are some things that are beyond just proposal, that they become concrete and they actually touch the pockets of public officers.
And Prime Minister Skerrit says the opening of the Kempinski 5-star resort in October this year is no doubt great news for the hotel sector. The Prime Minister outlined prospects for greater economic development with the anticipation of a number of hotel projects on the island. The Prime Minister says these investments also speak to the interest which international brands have in Dominica.
With the expected opening of the Marriott-branded Anachi Hotel, along with the Moroccan-funded hotel, we can well appreciate the economic transformation that will take place in the north of the country, and more specifically, the town of Portsmouth. In respect to Jungle Bay, since its opening in June, with a complement of 62 full-time staff, the number of rooms are expected to increase by year-end, with a staff complement of 150 Dominicans. The construction of the Tranquility Beach, branded by Hilton Curio, a 75-room resort located at Grand Savannah, Salisbury, is proceeding smoothly, with the creation of 40 construction jobs currently. Our very own locally branded Secret Bay Resort has commenced construction of an additional 36 villas, adding to the 6 which have already been completed, making for a total of 42 villas when the project will be fully completed. Madam Speaker, the service at this resort is beyond a 5-star. Excellent service provided by our Dominican people, Madam Speaker. Because 99% of the staff there are young, progressive Dominicans. In a few weeks' time, government will sign agreements for 3 additional tourism developments, 1 in Portsmouth area and 2 in the Roseau area. We are also witnessing soon, very soon, we're also witnessing the reconstruction and expansion of the Fortune Hotel, which will take the total room to 100 rooms on completion. And we advise, Madam Speaker, by the proprietors that there is a strong positive possibility of the Fortune Hotel being internationally branded.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts, with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
To end the news, a look again at the headlines. Hotel developer and CBI agent Sam Raphael concerned about the impact of the opposition leader's statements on the CBI program. U.S. boarding schools offer $6.5 million in financial awards to Dominican students. And the DPSU optimistic over the possibility of the start of salary negotiations with government later this month. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You may access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.